Anthony Davis.
Good morning. Welcome to the Syracuse City School District and the Institute of Technology at Syracuse Central. My name is Anthony Davis, and I'm the superintendent of the Syracuse City School District. I'm so excited to have you all here today for the official groundbreaking for the first ever county-wide STEAM school in New York State. On behalf of our Board of Education, the students, staff, and families of the Syracuse City School District, I would like to thank and welcome our distinguished guests who are here today. Thank you for your continued support for this project and for believing not only in the project, but the students and families of Syracuse. Today, we officially break ground on the project, and going forward, you will see work taking place to restore and transform the beautiful building next door that has sat empty for far too long. But believe me when I tell you, there's already been a lot of work done. And that might be work that you've seen, but there's a lot of people that we have to thank for keeping this property in a place that we can move forward. I'd like to say thank you to all our collaborators for your time and expertise while developing the STEAM school concentrations. I just want to introduce those concentrations to you. The STEAM high school will have concentrations of business entrepreneurship, construction management, data analytics, entertainment engineering, media technology and design, robotics and automation, semiconductor manufacturing technology, and the visual and performing arts. How's that for a lineup? These concentrations were carefully chosen after looking at the results of the local needs assessment and looking at ways to meet the identified gaps within our community. Because of your assistance, each concentration will better prepare students for the high demands in not only these professions, but also will foster our strong economic growth. A special thank you to Amazon and Micron for their generous financial contributions to this initiative. I would also like to recognize all of the county superintendents and all of our college partners who are here today and who have been supportive of this project. This is a monumental day, and I'm thrilled to just be a small part of it. At this time, I would like to introduce our next speaker, who's been a great friend and an outstanding partner, and it's our Honorable Mayor, Ben Walsh.
Good morning, everyone. What a special day it is today. We were just talking backstage, and one of the challenges in the work that we all do is to take a moment and to soak in the wins, the opportunities that we have. And this is one of those days where we all just need to soak it in. Certainly, cutting the ribbon on the finished school will be even better, but to get to this point, to get to this day, took a lot of work and a lot of partnership, and I just want to talk a little bit more about that. So to bring you back a little bit, so prior to being mayor, I served as Deputy Commissioner of the Department of Neighborhood and Business Development under Mayor Minor. In that job, I got a call probably on a monthly basis from a developer saying, hey, what are you doing with that big empty school on the southern end of downtown? We're building housing, it's historic, we can get historic tax credits, can we do something with that building? And so when I became mayor, one of the first meetings I had was with superintendent at the time, Jaime Alisay, who I see over there. Jaime, good to see you. And I said, all right, Jaime, I've got an idea. We've got this beautiful old building. We've got a lot of developers that are chomping at the bit. Let's build a beautiful mixed-use property. And he listened. He said, yeah, no, we're not going to do that, Mayor. Not the first or the last time he said that to me. But he then began to lay out the vision for a STEAM school, which was a vision that had been put together by Jaime, a number of others. I think Steve Swift is here, another true believer, and somebody there's Steve right next to Jaime, appropriate. And slowly but surely, these guys sold me on the vision, and it didn't take long. And from that moment, we never looked back. We pushed it forward. It is a critical component of our Syracuse Surge initiative, which is our strategy for inclusive growth in the new economy. And it is the product I would say, unprecedented collaboration, but frankly, this is the collaboration that we've grown accustomed to in this community. And I see my friend Rob Simpson in the front, and so I'm going to put Rob on the spot. Rob, what happens when we collaborate, when we work together? We win. So let's all say it. What happens when we work together? We win. That's right. And so we're winning right now as a community, and it's because we're all working together. And I want to thank all of our partners. What we are building here is a state-of-the-art facility that is not just for our kids here in the city, it is for kids throughout the region. And in building this facility, we are breaking down educational barriers that have existed in this community and communities throughout the nation for decades. And in doing so, we are creating a model that not only can be replicated in New York State, can be replicated throughout this nation. This is significant. This is, again, unprecedented, really, and I could not be more excited about it. Again, we couldn't do it without the many partners. I'm going to name a number of them. Governor Hochul, of course, who you'll be hearing from shortly. Governor Hochul and our state delegation were critical partners throughout and continue to be. Onondaga County, I'll be introducing the county executive. The county didn't have to play a role in this project, but County Executive McMahon, the county legislature stepped up, and they've been incredible partners. Our Common Council, I see our Common Council President, Helen Hudson, the rest of the team here, has been, from the moment, there are a lot of things I have to really sell them on. This was not one of them. They were all in, and they've been great partners. The school board, Syracuse City School District School Board, I see members of the board here, again, have been there with us every step of the way. Our corporate partners, Micron, and we have our friends from Micron here, thrilled for your partnership and your support, Amazon, and so many other partners. When you see the list, it truly is incredible, and it grows every day. It is the last point I want to leave you with. It is not accidental that we're standing where we are and that this school is where it is. It is part of a very intentional strategic strategy that we have undertaken for a number of years. I mentioned Syracuse Surge. When we launched Syracuse Surge, we established this area as the Southside campus for the new economy. We have ITC right here, an amazing city high school already in existence. We have the STEAM school, which will be right next door. Think about the other amenities, though. SUNY Educational Opportunity Center, EOC. The Tech Garden, which is currently underway with expansion. The Salt City Market, an incredible jewel just a block to the north. Syracuse Community Health Center, we just cut the ribbon on their new facility. JMA Wireless, and more by the day. So again, this is not by accident. This happened because all the folks in this room and many folks outside of this room came together based on a vision, worked together, and this is what we have as a result. So I want to thank all of you for your partnership, for your support. Soak in this day. And with that, again, I mentioned we couldn't do this without the county. When we pitched this to the county executive, he was all in, not because he had to be, but because he wanted to be, and we're thrilled to have him as a partner. Ryan, come on up.
Good morning, everybody. I want to congratulate everybody here. Many of you are here, have played a role in this. And when you do things and you make history, and that's really what's happening here. This has not been done in this state before. The success has 1,000 authors. And if you look at, the mayor gave you an amazing chronology of the various partnerships. But this was really the first marquee project of the Syracuse Surge, which was Mayor Walsh's strategy to revitalize this section of downtown. So Mayor, congratulations. This was a big win for you and your administration and the vision. And all the different partners that had to work together in an unprecedented way, because there has never been a county-wide STEAM school or a county-wide school in New York State. And this is more than a school. This is a workforce development laboratory. And if you're going to transform a region, and transform not just a region in New York State, but the region in the Northeast, and bring the private sector partners to the table, you need these partnerships. And it started at the school district, with the school board, and with Superintendent Elisea and Superintendent Davis, the Common Council, the county legislature. I want to acknowledge legislators Knapp, Olson, I believe Irvin, Chase, Abbott, Cody Kelly. I think you're all here with us today. But we had to bring the county legislature in because the county actually owns the building we're about to be in for a short period of time, hopefully, right, Superintendent? And we're bonding for the construction, and we're managing that. So I want to thank our facilities team who's working on this with the school district facilities team daily. But all these partners came together to come with a model, and then we had to go get state legislation. So I want to thank our state delegation for the work that you did to get special legislation through, to be leaders, and certainly help to finance it with the governor and the Department of Education. So when you do that, you have a revitalization project, and that's what's happening in front of us. But to take it to the next level, you need the private sector partners to engage with the kids, to engage with our teachers and our faculty. And it started out with Amazon. And Amazon committed to us and created big jobs and committed to $1.75 million to this effort because they saw the vision. But we really couldn't take this project to the next level without our anchor tenant for this state and this region, and that's Micron. And right now, the young people in our community throughout Central New York understand the opportunity that they now have because of this investment, the largest investment in the history of the United States, happening right here in our community. And Micron and their talented team will be here interacting and supporting the growth of these kids every step of the way. So I'm very privileged to welcome my good friend Manish Bhatia to here, and I want to thank Manish, and I want to thank April, and I want to thank our entire Micron team because your partnership is unprecedented, and you are the definition of corporate leadership. Manish.
Well, you get two of us together for one, but thank you for that, Ryan, and I also appreciate the friendship that has grown, and I want to thank Superintendent Davis and Mayor Walsh, and of course, Governor Hochul, who will be joining us soon. Last year we announced the selection of clay for our next megafab project, and with the expected grants from the Chips and Science that were made possible by the Chips and Science Act, and that the Department of Commerce is going to be announcing here hopefully shortly, we hope to be able to invest over $100 billion over the next 2+ decades here in clay. As Ryan said, the largest manufacturing investment in the history of the United States. And between that investment as well as our planned investment at our headquarters in Boise, Idaho, we'll be bringing leading-edge memory technology back to the United States to ensure that we have, for national security, that we have access to leading-edge semiconductor memory for the next several decades to power the AI wave that is upon us and that will be transforming our world as we move forward. And that's just semiconductor manufacturing, but I really expect that this is just the tip of the spear, that this will actually lead to a manufacturing renaissance across semiconductors, but our suppliers, who hopefully will be coming to more and more of them locating in this central New York region, and even other technology companies, a couple of whom were mentioned already, but I know others who've made announcements recently. Of course, JMA and Corning and Lockheed and Saab, but even TMT made an announcement recently. So all of these show the potential for this region to be able to rekindle the manufacturing strength that was here over in the past century and be able to take us into the next. Our investment here has the potential to create 50,000 high-paying jobs in central New York. I've said before, there's no manufacturing process on the planet that's as complicated as semiconductor manufacturing at the leading edge. So those high-paying jobs will be comprised of scientists who will be developing these nanoscale processes, engineers who have to run these mega-scale, high-purity clean rooms, and then highly skilled technicians who will be maintaining the most high-precision equipment of any industry on the planet. I mean, these are the types of jobs that we're talking about creating at Micron, as well as in our supply chain, to be able to help us be successful. So really, the emphasis on education and building the pipeline, like what we're doing here today, is really paramount. And it's great to hear the first county-wide STEAM school in the history of New York State. That's what we're here to celebrate today. And Superintendent Davis, every one of those skills that you mentioned, I can imagine, can be part of helping us build semiconductors and build manufacturing. Every one of those. Really, really exciting. I want to pivot a little bit and talk about teachers. Teachers are amazing. Randy and Michael and Melinda, thank you for being here to represent Superintendent Davis and Superintendent Jaime. Really appreciate it, and all the other teachers who are here. Behind every success story, there's always a teacher. And I can tell you, my personal story is no different. I'm the child of immigrants. My father came here to this country to get his PhD in mathematics. And so math was always a language for me growing up in Michigan. Actually, I grew up in Michigan. Just today's snow flurries reminded me of what the weather can be like. And I can just imagine kids. Is there anything as great when you're a kid growing up as a snow day? I mean, you wishing that tomorrow there'll be more snow, and maybe when I was growing up on the radio, but go through that list, I'm sure there's some message or some text that goes
We
out.
would like kids to stay in school, just for the record.
I know. But just reminding me so many of the joys of childhood. But anyway, you're right, I'm digressing. So anyway, so I was I was the only Indian kid in my entire elementary school, right? I mean, this is very early when immigration was starting back in the early 70s. So there were very little immigration from India. And so I was a shy, awkward, introverted kindergartner, and I had almost no friends. And then in first grade, I got put into what was the STEAM equivalent of its day. It was a K through 5 combined class. So K through 5 combined classroom for a full year, so that the older kids could be with the younger kids and they could teach more collaborative, advanced topics and subjects. And I had a teacher named Mrs. Stevens. And Mrs. Stevens was one who really helped me take that language of math that I knew and translate it through science projects and math competitions and other things, to being able to meet friends and give that love of math that I had meaning and potential for the future. I actually had Mrs. Stevens a second time later on in elementary school, and between those things, it set me up on a course to be able to have advanced degrees in engineering and in management, and eventually now semiconductor manufacturing for the last 25 years of my career. So, I can really tell you that I'm really hoping that there are going to be many, many more Mrs. Stevens at this STEAM school who are going to empower the next generation of mathletes that are going to take this region and this country into the AI wave of the future, and I'm really, really excited about this moment. So with that, I'll turn it to my very good friend April to give more details of how Micron is helping here.
Yeah, great. Thank you, Manish. I want to just also echo my appreciation, just as Manish did, for everyone in this room, all of the great partners, mayor, county executive, superintendent. Obviously, we could not have done any of this great planning without your input, without your partnership. And now we're forging new partnerships with the teachers union, of course, across the nation, but here in the state of New York and in this region. So thank you for this incredible partnership. As we move through this CHIPS process that Manish referenced earlier, we have started to hear some feedback. And I will tell you, the feedback on the workforce plan, on the community plan, on the model itself that we're building here in Central New York, where it is public and private partnership, everyone coming together to be part of this. The feedback is incredible. The feedback is, this is a model. This is a way to lead. You need to bring others along across the nation. So I'll kind of start where the county executive did. Congratulations, because this is your model. This is your plan, and it is getting noticed, and I couldn't be more proud. Manish and I could not be more proud to be part of it, so congratulations. And I know we have our community engagement committee members, many of them here today. I want to thank them specifically, and I see Melanie, my great partner, sitting right up front. This is a new model, and so as you can imagine, there is a lot of uncertainty. There's no playbook for us to follow. We're building this as we move through this process, and it takes a lot of trust. It takes a lot of learning, and that's exactly what we're doing, going on this journey together. So thank you, Community Engagement Committee members that we have here. The workforce scale required to fuel the projects that Manish described, it's incredible. We have an industry association in the semiconductor industry called SIA, Semiconductor Industry Association. They predict that by 2031, we will have a 67,000 worker deficit. We will be short 67,000 workers in the semiconductor industry by 2031. Well, we can't let that happen here. We have to start now. And while 2031 might seem far away, by 2031, we will have hired north of 2,500 employees for our location here in Clay, New York. The STEAM school that we're breaking ground on will have actually produced 750 graduates already by 2031. The future is coming, and the future is coming fast, and we have a lot of work to do. So urgency is incredibly important to get the scale that we need. But we also need quality. We've got to make sure these students have these experiences. They have the curriculum, the STEM curriculum that builds the foundation so that they can be part of the semiconductor industry and contribute immediately with the skills and the knowledge and the experiences, hands-on experiences that they'll be able to acquire at the STEAM school and throughout the state, other STEM programs and curriculum that you're going to hear about later. Quality, incredibly important to make sure what we build here is in a leadership role and continues to lead not just the nation in semiconductors, but the world in semiconductors. And that's what Micron is aiming for, and we know all of our partners are aiming for that same thing. When I announced Micron's commitment last fall, when President Hilton hosted the great event, and President Biden came to announce the decision to expand here in Clay, I announced a $10 million commitment from Micron in the STEAM school and other STEM programs in the region. And I knew as Chief People Officer how important that investment was going to be, again, to get the scale of students and workforce, as well as the quality, as well as creating equitable access so everyone had the opportunity to be part of this, to access the education, to access these careers, really turning education to opportunity. I knew that. But what I didn't know when I made that announcement a year ago, and as I looked at the thousands of people in the audience, it wasn't just an investment in my future workforce. It was an investment in the community. This was an investment certainly in kids, but this investment is actually about families. And this is going to transform and lift up the whole community, really change the path, of course, for students, but also for families, for generations to come. And we couldn't be more excited about that. But again, I'll end where I started. None of this happens without great partners. And we are thrilled to announce and share yet another great partnership, forging partnerships across, of course, the city, the county, the region, the state. Very important to get the growth that we need, the inclusive growth that we need. So now we're going to invite three great partners up to the stage. Randy, Michael, and Melinda, would you guys come up to the stage? Thank you.
So you're wondering, what is the union doing here at this announcement? But I also want to, before I start, I would like to actually ask the other 10 leaders of our locals in this area because it's not just in Syracuse, but it's in the whole region, to stand so that you hear and see the nature of this partnership. So our leaders from Baldwinsville, from Chinecko, from East Syracuse, Minoa, from Liverpool, from Niagara Falls, from North Syracuse, from OCM BOCES, from Wardtown, and of course, Nicole from Syracuse. Just stand for a second, our leaders. Just stand. And they'll all make sure that this kid from Rockland County will be able to pronounce the names right. Now, you have Melinda Persons, the head of NYSET, Michael Mulgrew, the head of the UFT in New York City. And the reason that we are here is because we are part of what April and Manish just talked about in terms of this workforce development and this pathways. What we are announcing today as well is that we have developed a framework to take the work that Manish and April just talked about, and how do we make that real in junior high school and high school? How do we create that? How do we create the curriculum to do that? And how do we do that fast? And how do we do that with that speed that we talked about yesterday? And what you have here with these two amazing leaders from New York and with our national union is we have taken on that commitment to create that framework and turn it into curriculum so that we can have that advanced manufacturing framework and curriculum for not only Central New York, but for the United States of America. That's why we are here. And those 10 districts you just saw, they are part of doing that. After the pilot phase, we will move to other to make it much more fulsome. Now, that's what the governor was going to announce. I want to say that this is a national model. I don't use those words often, but this is a national model of teachers working with their superintendents, working in the public space, in public schools, with industry, in partnership for the American dream, for kids and families to come back to upstate New York, for us to see a way of rising. That's the purpose of public schools. We're about possibilities, and we're about passion. We're about potential and purpose. You do that through pluralism and democracy and opportunity, and that's what we're doing today. And I want to just end, before I introduce Melinda, to say this. Yesterday, several of us went together to another STEAM school, to a STEAM school in Brooklyn, at the Brooklyn Navy Yard. We went to Edison High School, too, to see the potential of what this STEAM school should be. That included at the Navy Yard 550 businesses, 11,000 employees. This promise of America, this promise of advanced manufacturing, this promise of this renaissance, I saw in Shanana Nedram, a senior and an aspiring architect working on her certificate in 3D visualization. The project she was most proud of was the creation of a prototype mycelium lamp that was then adopted by a not-for-profit employer next door at the Navy Yard, Terraform One. This is the kind of alignment we're going to see in Syracuse. This is a real solution for kids and communities. This circle is what lifts up our entire community. We're deepening those connections. We are grateful, Micron, that you saw in us what we see in you. And we, as partners, as teachers, and as partners of community, are here for the long run. Melinda.
Thank you, Randy, and thank you, Michael, the team at Micron, and Governor Hochul. Governor Hochul has shown up for students since her first day in office, and she continues to do that time and again. So much of what we are announcing today is true union work, because we are fighting to make sure that our students and educators get what they deserve. And this union work shows the power and potential of what our combined union family, statewide, can accomplish when we partner with government and industry. In developing this framework, our educators are bringing together proven successful experiential hands-on learning. These are programs that are redefining what it means to teach and learn in the 21st century. The three of us have seen it over and again, and Randy mentioned what we saw yesterday in New York City. I want to mention this morning I visited a robotics classroom in Chittenango, about a half hour from here. I talked to a young student who told me that this robotics program created the environment where he wanted to come to school again, right? This type of hands-on learning reaches students in a way that other learning may not, and it brings them into the realm of possibility of a future here in Central New York. Authentic learning looks different today than it did a decade ago or even 5 years ago. Our students need to know how to think critically about the unlimited information that is at their fingertips. They need to understand how to work and communicate and collaborate. These are not necessarily the skills that you see on a paper and pencil test, right? But they are skills that you can learn in a STEAM environment. That is why this framework is so exciting. Every school district wants to offer our children everything that they need to thrive. And I want to thank the governor and Micron. New York's investments are making us a hub for semiconductors and high-tech manufacturing, and they're creating the jobs for the next generation. But right now, not every educator has a direct line to industry experts, and that is what this framework is going to help us provide. The framework won't look the same everywhere. It might look different in Watertown and Niagara Falls than it does here in Central New York. But that's what's so exciting. It will be tailored to the individual schools and the industry and the students' needs. But we are so excited to see how it will look in these 10 districts that we are announcing today. Making New York a national leader in advanced technology starts in our schools. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. First, I want to congratulate Syracuse and this entire county on opening up this phenomenal STEAM center. It is a gift. It is a gift that will help the children, and it will help the teachers educate the children to give them the opportunities that we all want. And when your superintendent, who in the back we were speaking, and he loves career and technical education. And that is what the programs are inside of our STEAM centers. And when we started this project, we were asked, when the CHIPS Act came about, I received a phone call. It was the governor. The governor and I have a special passion towards career and tech education. She loves career and technical education. She talks to me about it all the time. She says, Michael, we need to figure this out. We have to figure out how to do this work. And at that point, then, we started having meetings with Micron and with the state education department and with the economic development folks at the state level. And this has been going on for months. Most people don't understand this. And I want to personally now thank two people who are very important to this project, Leo Gordon and Terry McSweeney, who have brought teachers together from around the state. So I will tell you how important it is to us as educators. There have been dozens of teachers from around this state meeting voluntarily for over 6 months to put together this framework. They all understood that this is going to lead to better opportunities for students. And when you look at this entire project, yes, politically, economic development, workforce development, people love those words. Any elected official loves to be an announcement where those things are happening. Because it's good. It's good for the state. It's good for the community. And for us as educators, yes, we'll speak about this as we're doing these programs as workforce development and economic development for students, but the real value for us is that as this engages our students in these programs graduate at a much higher rate than students in just academic programs. But when we see this, and why do we do this work? Did we need teachers to understand all of the different strands inside of the chip technology world, about how there's all these different types of technicians? No, they saw it as a way to give every student a better opportunity to having a great life. And that's the passion that the teachers bring to this, because we know this is where there are going to be really good jobs. But more importantly, a good job is one thing, but we want to make sure students understand that their learning and their education will create that potential for them to have more opportunities, to not have doors closed on them, but their ability to open up more doors to have more control over their own lives. And that's what this project is. And that's what this framework is about, and that's why it's so important that when you're opening a STEAM center, everyone, the adults, understand what this is about. And now I want to talk about the governor who does call me and say, what about CTE? What else can we do? When the CHIPS Act first started being debated, I received another phone call from the governor. Michael, you know the career and tech ed stuff works. How does New York State position itself to do something that no state has done before? How do we use the workforce development, the economic development, the education from K through 16? How do we start aligning it in a way, break down the silos to say New York State is open. We are open to doing this work the right way. We are going to lead the nation in showing them how to actually transform communities and help children have better opportunities and develop New York State as a leader in how to work with an industry and then move us into a stratosphere that no one else has seen, and then others can follow. And that's really the conversations I've had with this governor. And when the introductions to Micron were, at first it's odd, we're great now, but we were good then, but we're all trying to feel each other out, and is this real? And she made sure it was, no matter what. So I'm hoping that I'm doing this at the right time, but it is now my opportunity to introduce the governor with the sight, the governor with the vision to say, we can do something no one else has done because we are here to build a better community and a better society, and we want New York to lead the way. Our great governor, Kathy Hochul. Oh, thank God.
Good morning, everyone. Please sit down. What a spectacular day. I have a couple of observations to make. In case you have not noticed, Central New York is literally reinventing itself, and business leaders across the globe are paying attention. And if you want to lead an industry into the 21st century, they're starting to wake up and say, yeah, Central New York is the place to be. This region is blessed with an abundance of people who have such ambition, who have such big dreams for this area, just like the legacy they built for this great region. But there was a time when we sort of lost our mojo here, and people started feeling down and out, that the better days were always going to be in the past. But this area never gave up and fought hard for recognition, fought hard for opportunities. And is that a great ambition that brings us here today as we break ground on a $74 million state-of-the-art, globally recognized STEAM school? Let's give that another round of applause. And the announcement about how we're changing the curriculum to adapt to the needs, and it didn't happen by itself. I want to thank, first of all, Tony Davis, our superintendent. It takes guts and vision to be a leader and to be one of a kind, so thank you. Thank you. My partners in state government, we all knew what was happening in Washington. They're passing their own CHIPS Act. Well, that meant that companies would come to New York and come to the United States and develop in the United States. It didn't say New York would get an advantage. It just said the United States was now positioning itself to bring back onshoring the jobs that we had lost for too long. But I needed partners at the state level, and I want to thank our Senator John Mannion for his incredible leadership on this. John, thank you. Thank you. Senator Rachel May. Thank you, Senator May. And Assemblyman Al Sturpey, who was the sponsor of the Green Chips bill in the Assembly. Let's give him a huge round of applause. Assembly Member Pam Hunter as well. The mayor, I know this is a great day for you. We've walked past the empty steam building, and you always say, we got to get this done, we got to get this done, because it can come back and be such a magnificent credit to this community and give kids such an opportunity. So, Mayor Walsh, your vision, the way I've seen it implemented, and I'm paying a close attention to this community, you know that. I commend you for your incredible leadership. Let's give another round of applause to Mayor Ben Walsh. Our county executive, Ryan McMahon, who knew he needed to find the place. If you get the land ready, they will come, and they certainly did. So thank you for positioning ourselves to be so competitive in making sure Micron understood there's no place like Syracuse for building this magnificent place. April Arnzen and Manish Patia, I want to thank both of you. We've become good friends with Micron. I'm reminded, as I'm a little bit late today, flying planes in the snow is always a little longer than you think. I literally started this morning in New York City, in Manhattan, and I was at the crowd of business leaders. And when I mentioned I had to leave because I had to go to Syracuse because of another Micron announcement, they literally applauded in Manhattan. They know this is a big deal, okay? I want you to know that. This is a big deal, and they're paying attention. So to Manish and April, thank you. And as I thought about flying in the snow, I thought about January 25th, 2022. And I was supposed to come over from Albany, and the snow was coming down so hard, and my team says, oh, I'm not sure you should fly. I said, Micron's waiting for me in Syracuse. Sanjay's waiting for me to have a little conversation. We're going to take the plane. I'm going to get there. And we ended up staying not for one drink and saying hello. We stayed 3 hours for the most incredible dinner. And I want to thank you. I will always get on that plane and go where I can help make a deal. But I also knew walking out of that room that when we talked about the opportunity, and they said numbers that I just never heard of in my lifetime, $100 billion investment, 50,000 jobs, they would need 50,000 well-trained workers. And I said, okay, I can do that, no problem. Okay, Mike, Randy, Andy, we got to get some people trained here, right? We knew immediately, in order to make this happen, that we'd have to train the next generation of workers, because when this is completed in 20 years, children born today are going to be walking in the doors and getting those great paying jobs and starting their own families. That's the legacy of Micron, of what you're doing here. But educators were at the forefront, and I needed them. I needed Melinda Pearson, I needed Mike Mulder, I needed Randy Weingart, I needed them to also share in this vision. And as Randy said, as a national leader sitting here today, when she says this will be a national model, she means it, because she can make that happen. So we're going to get it right here. We're going to make you proud and show what we can do, and people come together, the business community, government, labor, and to all the teachers here today. I commend every single one of you. Let's give yourselves a round of applause as well. Thank you. Thank you. And Amazon, thank you for stepping up. Brad Griggs, also the senior manager at economic development at Amazon, thank you for believing in us. You know, for 70 years, Central Tech High School prepared kids for the future. That's what they did. People graduated there, started their families, were part of the local economy, part of the fabric of Central New York. But in 1975, it shuttered its doors. No more. Now, Fowler High School was great replacement, but it's been 50 years. People have gone by this building, almost in a mocking way, a reminder, just saying, nothing here, nothing to see here, nothing going on here, nobody being educated here. It was abandoned, hopeless. And people said, no, that can't be. This area is too important. It has too much value. It has too much character and charm. We can bring it back. We just needed people to believe in its possibilities, just like what else is going around here. Last time I was here was a major announcement on the progress we're making on I-81. That is one of the largest infrastructure projects in our state going on right now, and we're going to get it done. Dividing a community that was divided by racial injustice, and I called it out for what it was. No one cared back then when they built these highways, whether it's the one in Buffalo, the 3381 here. No one cared that you're dividing through the heart of the black and brown communities because they didn't have political clout to stop it. And we said we're going to start healing our communities, bringing them back together, reuniting them. And that's why I brag about that project as well, going on simultaneously with this. What I see with the Center City Innovation Hub, we've talked about this, it's becoming a reality, so exciting. The Tech Guard, I've walked through the halls there so many times, and I see the smartest people, so energetic, so excited about the future. And you want a great meal, you just go over to Salt City Market, right? That is ingenious. And I encourage our out-of-town guests, like Randy and Mike Mulgrew, I know Melinda's been here, stop by there. It's like the United Nations. It's people from all around the world, and it's their first chance to really start a business. When I go through that, I'm just so proud of this area, because I know what it looked like for a long time. I went to school here. I came in on a bus from a gritty Greyhound station in Buffalo that I'm not sure my parents should have dropped me off at by myself. And I landed at one that was just as scary here in Syracuse. Remember that one? But I came here, taking that bus across the state because I believed in I could have a future with an education in this area. But I saw the polluted lake I drove by. I'd say, why aren't people swimming in that lake? Oh, you don't want to swim in that lake. We're cleaning up the lake. The lake is coming back. The downtown is coming back. The development. I never thought I'd live long enough to see the rebirth of this city and this region. And the icing on all of it is Micron. Micron giving that sense of pride. So this building next door here, this is going to be a symbol. It's not just a place, it's a symbol of rebirth, reimagining, and again, a faith that was not there before. When they open the doors in 2025, and the first students walk through into this beautiful place, it's going to have the state-of-the-art technology. It's going to say the future is right here. Just grab it, young people. Grab it. It's waiting for you. And their lives will be forever transformed when they get the skills that are required to go work at Micron and all the other businesses that are finding their way here. They'll never have to, especially the kids coming out of poverty today. And we've got one of the highest childhood poverty rates in America. How do you solve for that? This is what keeps me up at night. How do we help those little kids? And we're doing so much. Tax credit for families where there never was, helping with child care costs, helping increase the minimum wage adjusted to inflation. We did all that. But I know if those children can find their ways to this STEAM school, they'll never, ever have to talk about how we can afford food for their families or be able to pay the rent for their families. This will transform a generation of young people because the education's there, the skills are being taught, and the jobs are waiting for them. This is what the future looks like, my friends. This is the future. So the state's investment of $71 million of a $74 million project, that's a lot. But I know that we'll get every dime out of this back when we change futures for young people. But I also want to make sure that they're being educated in a smart way. And while we've made innovations in tech, and spoiler alert, we're talking about embracing AI in New York State here because there's jobs that are going to go somewhere. And I say they come to New York. We're going to be talking about that in my State of the State address. And why not have the epicenter be here in upstate New York? This is what I believe can happen. So we're going to keep partnering with companies and partnering with labor and making sure this all happens. But as we continue to think about this announcement here today that you heard about what our unions have worked on, changing the curriculum. You know, my friends, when you talk about changing curriculum, you're usually looking at a decade of work. I mean, this bureaucracy does not happen. Am I right about this? Okay, let's change A to B here. Okay, we'll get back to you in about 10 years. It doesn't happen, right? It doesn't happen. But we are going at rapid speed because the future is right there. We have no time to wait. That's the urgency we bring to this. That's why having Randy Weingarten and Melinda and Mike on board and all the people they represent, this is how you seize the future. So this commitment and $10 million from Micron to help us go toward educating, $10 million, that's a lot of money. Let's give them another round of applause. I mean, $10 million toward educating generations of New Yorkers. Amazon stepping up, $1.75 million. Let's give a round of applause to Amazon. Thank you, Amazon. Thank you. This is what it's all about. And when we get, as I said, government and labor and business and a community, elected officials working together, this new commitment of $2 million from the state matched by Micron, I feel like I'm really almost have chills, and I don't say this often. Things are finally happening. Happening to an area that just never had much going for it for a long time. And we're going to look back on this day and this time and this year and a half of the Micron announcements that keep rolling out, and the community commitments and the partnerships you built, and say, this is what every business should be doing. You have set the model. You've set the bar high. I talk about you all the time. In fact, I have another call with Washington, too, and I say, as we talk about companies getting these government benefits, whether it's from the federal CHIPS Act, the state CHIPS Act, you have a responsibility to the communities where you're investing in. Now, this was not a lesson that had to be taught to Micron. This was their culture. This was their identity. This is who they are. Every company that wants help from us, we need to ask them to do the same. What are you doing about childcare? Tell us what you're doing about childcare. I know we're already starting to build a childcare center on site, so no parent has to say, I can't take that job because the cost of childcare is too high. This is what the future of business should be here in the state of New York. Embracing the local community like it's your family. That's what I feel Micron has done. That's powerful. And it'll happen in a place called Clay. And I think about the word clay. Back when people were, a long time ago, when fire was still a mystery. Clay was a foundational material. They used to build things. You see the pots that are built today, communities were built. It's something you built things out of. And from this little community of clay here in central New York, we're building the foundation of a brand new economy, a new life for people, new opportunities, and making New York embrace it, central New York be at the forefront of this, and building prosperity for generations that comes. That's why this is such a big deal. Thank you, my friends, and let's go cut some ribbons.
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes this portion of the event. Please grab your coats and exit through the back of the gymnasium, where staff will direct you around the block for the official groundbreaking in front of the STEAM School. Thank you, everyone.